I'm Amber Kylick with Critical Movement Coaching. This is part 2 of a series on mobility of your spine and creating awareness. Now, if you've made it through part 1 and you're now here in part 2, congrats. You have some excellent self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is how much you believe in yourself to get something done or to succeed in something, to get stronger, to overcome pain, to get a task done. So today we're going to look at the lower back. Now, the lower back, we should have these curvatures in the spine, right? Now the tendency is, with our lower back, is we sit and it flexes. There's nothing wrong with sitting and slouching 15 minutes a day, okay? Now, the problem comes in is when we go to move, because the more we slouch and the more our spine is in this flexed position, the more we end up losing mobility. So we end up not being able to get this movement to happen from our spine, and that translates from the pelvis. So when we walk, your leg, this is your femur bone down here, your leg, once it reaches underneath you and starts to move behind you as you walk, that connection moves up through the pelvis and into the lower back, the lumbar spine. So we should be able to have a little bit of movement like this. Now, when our back is really sore and the muscles are gripping and everything else is going on, this stays here. And then when we walk, the leg doesn't really translate that movement all the way up into the lower back. And what ends up happening is because we lose that range of walking for the most part and that mobility into the spine, our glute takes the brunt of it. And in terms of taking the brunt of it, it means it goes, no one needs me anymore. So it actually starts to atrophy. So when you go to see a therapist of some sort or doctor, and they say that your glute isn't working, there's a good chance the movement patterns you have contributed to the atrophy of your glute, okay? Now, it's not that your glute doesn't work. It's that it hasn't needed to work, so that muscle shrank. That's what atrophy means, muscle shrinking. So what we want to do is create a little bit of movement on the ground to build that awareness of how we not only gain access into this small area of the spine, but how we stabilize it. We're so often told that we need strong core and gripping and protecting of our spine that this gets really tight. The tighter it gets, the less mobility we have, the more bracing that happens, the more pain sensitive we get. Now, all of this vicious circle stuff that contributes to chronic pain, we talk about in the Movement for Pain Management classes, okay? So if you're interested in learning more about that, sign up for one of those classes. They start every month and they're usually on Wednesdays. If you have a time frame that you need it in that doesn't work, I do record the videos and send them out to all the participants that day. So you do get a recording of the video each day if that time frame doesn't work. So what we're going to do is lay down. Now, when we lay down, if you have a critical alignment strip, that's ideal. These are very useful. And if you want to try and get one, if you are not in Calgary, Critical Alignment Therapy props, great place to go get your props. If you are in Calgary, I also sell them as well, $40. Just shoot me a message and we'll get to that. So, getting into your lower back, what we're going to do, if you have a towel, now if you have a super plush towel, you're going to roll up about halfway. Now, these IKEA towels are actually perfect because if you use one of them and you roll it up, and I've actually folded it many times over and gotten this nice firm roll in here, I'm going to take this and put it in my lower back. So when I lay down, and this is the movement that I talked about where your leg travels underneath you when you walk. If you stretch your legs out, ideally, you should notice this little arch in your lumbar spine, okay? Tendency is the body loves to take the easiest path of resistance, and this will happen. Now, I don't want your rib cage to be lifting. I want that to be down. Now that doesn't mean I want you to grip and hold it down like this, okay, because that's not that great either. What we're going to do, bend the knees, plant your feet on the ground, get into a comfy position. If you take your hands on your lower ribs, you can do a little bit of a crunch, okay, just to feel where that mobility is. And then we're going to pay attention to the two ways your body loves to compensate for this. One is that arch, okay? As soon as we try and move the legs, this will tend to happen. The second way that the body tends to move is to push down and really stabilize this way. The tendency of this tends to come from going to fitness classes, and the cues that come in push your lower back down into the floor. Now, if you're constantly pushing your lower back down into the floor, and if you look at this spiny guy here, okay, if that's happening, when you get up to walk, your body's going to know the movement pattern of stabilizing your lower back in this flattened position. And we need this curvature in the spine. So what we're going to do is keep this neutral position in the spine. Okay, we're going to move the legs. None of this moves. It should be fairly soft, not gripping. It's going to have to work, but it's stability, not gripping. There's a difference. Now we're going to lift the right leg and see what your body does. If you're so far so good here, good to go. Lift your left leg. So far so good. Keep going. Now listen to your body. At a certain point, your spine is going to try to change its position. Work within that range of mobility. Don't force it, and you'll build your nervous system and your strength and stability in this over time, okay? Right knee comes up, extend your left leg out. Now notice we extend it out at about 45 degrees. If we reach it up here, this is about the extent of my hamstring at the moment, okay? If I go any further, it will push my lower back into the floor. I don't want that to happen. So leg goes out 45 degrees. And what you want to do is start to slowly lower it. You'll notice this doesn't change. Only go as far as you can control it. We're not touching the ground, because if I touch the ground, I completely relax. I want this to be working a little bit, okay? So leg comes up, foot goes on the floor. Left leg comes up, extends out, slowly lowers down. I still have this little arch in my lumbar spine. This roll is here for feedback, not really support, just feedback. Leg comes up, foot goes down. Now you can work on that. Each leg, you may notice one leg's different than the other, but hold it. So over time, we want to build this connection, this stability. And you'll notice I can still breathe in my belly. It's still working, but I can still breathe. Okay? So we work right leg, we work the left leg, hang out there, come back up. When you get up, remember, don't sit up from here. We want to roll over, shoulders, hips, and head all at the same time to come up to seated. So let me know how it goes. Work on it. You can do this every day. And pay attention when you do get up to walk, if there's a difference, if there's a little bit more awareness in how that connection of your legs will move and hold that stability, okay? That movement up into the pelvis and into that lumbar spine. If you have any questions, comments, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, you can follow me on Instagram at InPursuitLife or on Facebook at Critical Alignment Movement Therapy. Or you can visit my website where I have a list of all of my classes and everything that's available. It's criticalmovement.org. Thank you.